Hey friends, happy Sunday and welcome back to another week of What's for Dinner. I hope you all have been having a good weekend. It's been rainy here in Georgia, so it's just been a gloomy day here today, just relaxing. But today I have another What's for Dinner video to share with you, another full week of dinners. If you're new here, I do these every Sunday, so make sure you hit that subscribe button down below so you can come back and see next week's What's for Dinner. I also share grocery hauls every Tuesday, kind of show you what I bought to prepare the dinners. That's also when I share the meal plan. And then I usually share an additional video during the week, sometimes a vlog. But earlier this week, I actually shared 3 one-pot meal ideas. So if you missed that, go check that out. That went up on Friday, and they are 3 must-try one-pot meals that we have loved recently. But let's go ahead and get into this week's What's for Dinner. Friday night we tried something new that I saw on TikTok. This is supposed to be Italian sausage and peppers in the crock pot, but I knew that my family really wasn't going to eat the peppers, so I left out the peppers and onions because I would have pretty much been the only one to eat it, and it just wasn't worth it to me. So save a little bit of money and left that out. So I am adding to the crock pot 2 packages of mild Italian sausage, and then I'm going to do 1 jar of marinara sauce. My favorite is the one from Aldi. And then I also added in a little bit of seasoning. This is totally optional, but I like to add this whenever I make spaghetti or anything. So I added in some garlic powder, onion salt, Italian seasoning, and some crushed red pepper flakes. Gave it a little stir and then put the lid on this, and I let this cook on high for 4 hours. And then here's what it looked like after the 4 hours. Nice and cooked through. Even the sausages that were close to the side got like a little bit of browning on them. And then I just toasted up some brat buns with some mozzarella cheese in the air fryer, and then put on a sausage and a little bit of that sauce. We had some salad on the side for those of us that like salad, and some fresh veggies on the side as well. Everybody loved this. I will definitely make it again. I might add in a little bit of peppers and onions next time, but it was good without it. It was almost like meatball subs, just a little bit different, and let us have like a little bit different kind of thing on our meal plan because we eat meatball subs quite a lot. Saturday night, we just had pizza. I found these pizza crusts at Ollie's. I went there a couple weeks back, and I didn't like show me going there or anything, but I always love to check their like clearance bread rack because everything is usually like $1.49, and you can get like close to date like bread and like little like sweet treats like donuts and stuff, and pizza crust. And I threw this pizza crust in the freezer and then just pulled it out in the morning on the day that I wanted to make the pizza. Let it thaw out all day, and then it was ready in the evening to just throw in the oven and make pizza. We just did simple pepperoni pizza and then some fresh veggies on the side. I made 2 pizzas. One of them I made for me and the kids, and then the other one I made like later in the evening for Andy when he got home, so he could have fresh pizza instead of leftover pizza. And then there was leftovers since he didn't eat a whole pizza by himself. Sunday night, we had grilled cheese and tomato soup. It's always a classic, always a staple. The kids wanted ham on there, so they had grilled ham and cheese. And you'll notice there's 2 different breads here. Lily just wanted regular old bread, but I had bought some everything sourdough bread that myself and Andy and Elijah used. And then we had American cheese on there and cheddar cheese, because we always got to have the combination of both. And then for our soup, it's always going to be the Progresso hearty tomato soup. I've tried to make my own in the past. I don't care for it. This hearty tomato from Progresso is our absolute favorite. And can you believe we actually used our last 2 cans? I like never run out of it, but I'm out, and I think it's on sale at Kroger like for a couple more days. So I think I need to make my way over to Kroger and stock up on that, because with it getting into fall, I know we will be eating grilled cheese and tomato soup a lot more. Monday night, we tried a new 5-ingredient ravioli dish that I saw on TikTok. The recipe that I actually saw used tortellini, but my Aldi was out of tortellini. So I started off by bringing some salted water to a boil to cook the ravioli according to the package directions. And then in a large skillet, I've got some ground beef here, and I had to season it up. These were not included in like the original recipe, but I've got some garlic powder, onion salt, and Italian seasoning, and I'm just going to season up my ground beef and then cook it until it's all the way cooked through, and then drain off any excess grease. Then I just went in with 1 whole jar of marinara sauce and then 8 ounces of whipped cream cheese. The original recipe had to use an 8-ounce block of cream cheese, but I prefer the whipped. I just don't like as much cream cheese in things, and like I like the whipped consistency better. I feel like it melts really well in things. So I used that instead, and then I mixed that together, got it all nice and like melted and combined. And then once that was combined, I added in my cooked ravioli, gave it a good stir, and then just topped this with some shredded mozzarella cheese. And then this went in the oven for about 15 minutes on 350 just to get warmed through and to melt that cheese on the top. This was really good, really easy and simple to put together, and minimal ingredients, so it's fairly cheap, and we all enjoyed it. You could pair it with a salad or some garlic bread or something, but we just had it by itself this night. Tuesday night, I did some sheet pan pork chops and potatoes. So I'm starting off with my potatoes because they're going to take a little bit longer to cook. These are just some baby potatoes that I halved, and then I've got them on my sheet pan, and I drizzled them with some olive oil, sprinkled them with some onion salt, some garlic powder, some paprika, and some salt and pepper. Then just toss those around to make sure everything was really coated well. And then this went in the oven on 425, and these cooked for about 40 minutes total. They got nice and soft, but also like crispy on the outside. And there would have been enough room on this sheet pan for my pork chops, but I like to just like prepare my pork chops while the potatoes are baking and not have to like take the potatoes out and then add the pork chops on. So I just left those in the oven the whole time, and then on a smaller sheet pan I'm going to do my pork chops. I'm making a little breadcrumb mixture to go on top of them. I've just melted 2 tablespoons of butter and then mixed in some Italian seasoned breadcrumbs, about a cup of them, and just like mix that together really well. And then I've got my pork chops here. I seasoned them with a little bit of onion salt and garlic powder and pepper. And then I am taking this artichoke dip. It's like a jalapeno artichoke dip that I found at Aldi, and I'm spreading that over the tops of these pork chops. I saw somebody do this on TikTok. I think her dip was a similar flavor one, but I can't remember where she got hers. It wasn't the Aldi one. But I almost made this with like some French onion dip. But then I found this dip at Aldi, and I was like, oh, cool. I think that's very similar to what she used. So I put that on there, spread it out, nice thin layer, and then sprinkled on my breadcrumbs. And then my pork chops went in my oven on 425 for about 20 minutes. And then I did put them under the broiler for about 3 to 5 minutes, keeping a very close eye on them so that they didn't burn. I just wanted to get nice and brown and crispy on the top. These were delicious. They were slightly spicy because of that jalapeno and the artichoke dip, but that dip made the pork chops like stay like super moist, and they didn't dry out at all, and it was delicious. We had the potatoes on the side, and then also a can of green beans. Okay, another new recipe we tried this week is Italian chicken pasta and a creamy white wine Parmesan cheese sauce, but I left out the white wine and used chicken broth instead, so I guess it's just a creamy Parmesan cheese sauce. I started off by bringing a pot of salted water to a boil to cook up 12 ounces of spaghetti according to the package directions. Then I'm mixing together some flour and seasoning to coat our chicken breast. I'm just doing half a cup of flour, a teaspoon of salt, a quarter teaspoon of black pepper, a teaspoon of garlic powder, 2 teaspoons of Italian seasoning, and then just mix that together really well. And then I've got some thinly sliced chicken breast that I'm going to press into the flour mixture, make sure it gets really well coated on both sides. Then in a large skillet, I heated up 2 tablespoons of olive oil, and then once that was hot, I added in my chicken, and I cooked it for 5 minutes per side. We do want to cook this all the way through because we're going to be removing it from the pan, and we also want to get a nice good sear on the outside of it. So I do 5 minutes without touching it, and then 5 minutes on the other side. And at that point, I check the internal temperature, and if it's still not all the way cooked through, then I put a lid on this, turn the heat down a little bit to like a medium low, and let it continue to cook for another 5 minutes with the lid on. Then at that point, my chicken was cooked all the way through, and I was able to remove it from the pan. Now I'm going to start working on the sauce. So I'm going to start off by adding in 4 tablespoons of butter, and then 1 small onion that I diced up, as well as like 4 cloves of minced garlic. And I'm just going to let that cook down, let the onions get nice and tender and translucent. Then I added in 1 tablespoon of flour and just stirred that around, made sure it was like all mixed in, and let that cook for about 30 seconds. And then I stirred in 1 cup of chicken broth. That's what I'm using in place of the white wine. You'll notice if you look at the recipe that I have linked down below. And then I also stirred in 1 cup of heavy cream. And then I added in some more seasoning, a little bit of salt, some Italian seasoning, and some crushed red pepper flakes. Whisk that together really well, and then I just brought that to a boil over like a medium heat. And then once it came to a boil, it started to thicken up, and I stirred in about 1/2 cup of Parmesan cheese. Once that was all melted, all I needed to do was add in my cooked spaghetti, toss that around, get my noodles nice and coated, and then this was ready to serve up. You could add the chicken back into the pot, but I chose to serve the chicken on the side. You could cut it up if you wanted to and put it on top of the pasta. And here's how it looked plated up. See, I just cut up the chicken and served it on top of the pasta. It was good. It wasn't anything like super special. It was just good. I probably wouldn't make it again just because there's so many other recipes out there, but it was a good recipe. Thursday night we had beef tips and gravy over some egg noodles. This is one of my husband Andy's like all-time favorite meals. Any kind of meat and gravy over rice or egg noodles is like one of his favorite things. So this is like a super simple like base recipe. You need 1 cup of water, 1 package of beef gravy, and a can of cream of chicken soup or cream of mushroom if you like that, and then a package of Lipton onion soup mix. Mix that all together. You can also add in cans of mushrooms if you like that. We don't, so what I add in for a little bit of mushroom flavor is some of the Trader Joe's umami seasoning, and then I've also got these Campbell's flavor ups that I found at Dollar Tree. One of them is a mushroom one, so I added a little squirt of that in as well. Gave it all a good stir, and then poured this over my stew meat in my crock pot, and that's it. Make sure everything is covered with that gravy, and then put a lid on this. I cooked this on high for 4 hours because I was short on time, but you can cook it on low for like 8 hours, and it turns out perfect. And then you can shred this up if you want to, or you don't have to. We prefer to shred it up, have little tiny shreds of beef in the gravy, and then you can serve this over mashed potatoes or rice or egg noodles. This night I chose to do egg noodles. And as I said, it's delicious. It's definitely a family favorite, and it's a super simple, easy recipe. And that is going to be it for this week's What's for Dinner. I hope that y'all enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you leave me a thumbs up down below and subscribe down there if you haven't already. And make sure you leave me a smiley face emoji in the comments to let me know that you made it here all the way to the end. And if you plan on trying any of these recipes, let me know which ones in the comments down below. I love to hear from you guys. I hope y'all have a great week, and I will see you on Tuesday for the grocery haul. Bye!